Hi, my name is Daniel Posney, and this is Shifting Perspectives. And I'm really excited about this for a couple of reasons. I'm going to keep it short, and my videos are going to be just a little bit shorter than they have been in the past. I know how that feels when you've got a limited amount of time and you just want to fit something in. So I'm going to squeeze that down to about 10 minutes instead of 20 minutes. That means I'm going to talk faster. So today I'm really excited about talking about vortexes. And I want to share with you what the dictionary says about vortexes and or vortices. It's really interesting how they, everybody describes these differently. A whirling mass of water, especially one in which a force of suction operates as a whirlpool. A whirling mass of air, especially one in the form of a visible column or spiral, as a tornado. A whirling mass of fire or flame. A state of affairs likened to a whirlpool for violent activity, irresistible force, etc. Something regarded as drawing into its powerful current everything that surrounds it. And then the Cartesian philosophy, it says a rapid rotary movement of cosmic matter about a center regarded as accounting for the origin or phenomenon of bodies or systems of bodies in space. Wow. And then there's more to it that I want to read here. It comes from the Latin in 1645 to 1655, and it's related to vertex. And then there's something else that I wanted to read here. Let's see. Yeah, irresistibly, let's see. An activity, situation, or way of life regarded as irresistibly engulfing. Wow. A circular, spiral, or helical motion in a fluid, such as a gas, or the fluid in such a motion. A vortex often forms around areas of low pressure and attracts the fluid and the objects moving within it toward its center. Tornadoes are examples of vortices. Vortices that form around flying objects are a source of turbulence and drag. So this somehow turned into like a spiritual thing in Sedona. And the story is that back in the 80s, somebody came up with this idea. And I know that actually one of the people that wrote one of the first books about vortexes, I'm just going to say vortexes. It's so hard for me to say the other one. And it was sort of brought into flavor and enhance the spiritual nature of Sedona and how people felt here. And for me, when I first came here, I just felt like I was home. It felt like my heart was really open. It felt like things were a bit more intense. And the results of that, what I see from people is that some people get really ungrounded, even if they're not standing on a rock or on a mountain or something. For a lot of people, their shit comes up. They're here as a couple and they start arguing, or if they're here with their family, they start arguing. And it's just there's so many things that are at play here. And those are the things that I want to describe why it is a vortex and what makes up a vortex and my understanding of it. Where I'm getting my understanding is my direct experience with it. And from a friend of mine named Pete Sanders and another friend named Todd Wynant. And they both have different perspectives of it. Pete comes from MIT, so he comes from a really technical background. So he's blending spirituality with the direct science of this. So where I'm coming from is sort of a mix of all these. So what I understand that's happening, at least in here in Sedona, is you've got crystals in the rocks, and crystals are natural amplifiers of energy. And that's why they use crystals in radio sets to amplify the incoming signal. So that's amazing that they would use a mineral, this crystal, to amplify. Someone figured that out, but that's what is this natural ability. And then you've got a lot of red rocks around here, and the red is caused by the iron content, and iron is a conductor. And then borrowing from Todd says that, millions of years ago, this place was covered in water. And when the water receded, and you've got this pliable sandstone, and where the water used to be is now this empty pocket. And when you have an empty pocket that has a conductor such as water, now you've got what's called a capacitor. And a capacitor is used in, I'm getting really technical here. A capacitor is used in electronic circuits to hold an electric charge. So you can, it's sort of like you fill up this tank, and then whenever you need it, you could, use that, whatever the electricity is in that tank. And sometimes these capacitors charge up and then release, charge up and release. So if you think about like some of these places around here, like this big capacitor, so you got the crystals, you got the iron content, you got the quick capacitor, and then you've got, so imagine stereotypically Nebraska, let's say that you've got this flat land. There's not a lot of movement there, but then you got a place like California or the Grand Canyon or Sedona where there's movement in rocks, things moving around, that's energy being moved. So when I look around Sedona, I see all this movement has happened over the years, receding of rocks and growing up of rocks, and just a lot of, it's very dynamic. Santa Fe is another place like that. You've got these rocks that kind of surround the city. So when you take that into consideration, there is this movement. And then you look around and you see all this beauty. And for the person, for the human being, that stirs up emotions in them. When you stir up emotions, now you're creating this energy. And you could say it's a vortex. If you look at the description of a vortex, you're kind of creating this thing where things draw into yourself, things are drawing into your heart. And I don't want to, I don't want to underemphasize the idea, and Pete talks about this too, is that, a lot of it is, this is about your heart. It's not about you thinking about this, and it's not necessarily something that you're going to see, but it can be a very subtle feeling or subtle energy. And the way that you can come into this and feel this vortex energy is to go directly into your heart. It's when you sit on a rock in a meditation with your eyes closed for a little while, and you're in touch with your breathing, and then you open your eyes, you can really feel the different energy here. Whereas imagine yourself in the city, there's so much distraction and buildings and things that just distort that energy. Here, it's this pure energy. So what else did I want to say about that? Oh, I come from really wanting to know the truth of everything. That's how I kind of grew up and got older, is wanted to know the direct truth of things, even beyond what my own mind was telling me. So I embraced spirituality and metaphysics because there's a lot of connection with quantum physics and truth and beyond what our own mind says. But I also want to know what, grounded science says. And so I went to the US Geological Society website. I don't know why I went there in the first place, but I got there. And what they've done is they've mapped out through their instrumentation and their experimenting electromagnetic anomalies. And that's what my understanding is, that energy, vortex energy or any energy, and essentially everything is electromagnetic energy. And this is something that you can look into with christreturns.org. And there's a channeling that was done, I think it's letter 6 or 7, I may be wrong in that, but where he describes this Christ consciousness, describes creation. And what creation is the feminine aspect and the male aspect come together, starting in chaos, but then aligning with an intent. And then from that creates this electromagnetic energy, or electrical and magnetic. And in that, there's this push and pull, resistance and going forward, what they call loving intelligence and intelligent love. So there's this play going on, this yin and yang, alpha, omega, vesica, Pisces, all that stuff kind of talks about this. So I went to this website and looked at what they were mapping out, and they've got this page for all the, I guess, all the states of the United States. And I looked at Arizona because I wanted to see what I was halfway hoping for, was that I would see this map and it would show Bell Rock, Cathedral Rock, Airport Vortex, and Boynton Canyon all like on with vortex energy. But what I saw was they had color coded all the electromagnetic anomalies with different colors related to the power or the strength of the anomaly. So the lowest ones are like purple and blue and green, the cooler colors. And as you go up, it starts getting into red and orange, and then it goes into pink, and white is the highest. So white is the highest electromagnetic anomaly. So what I saw on the map was it's all pink and white all over the place, not just at the rocks that people market and advertise as a quote vortex location. So Cottonwood, Flagstaff, Village of Oak Creek, all over Sedona is all these pockets of pink and white. And the white ones aren't necessarily at these places. But here's what I think would happen. It's all a big vortex here, right? And then you've got vortexes in other states, of course. But when people visit what they believe to be a vortex location, they put their belief and their intent into that. And also they've come here for some kind of, there are a percentage of people that don't come here for this, but there are a percentage that come here for life transformation and healing. And when you come here with that intent and you tap into more subtle energies, instead of just playing around and have a good time enjoying the sights, now you've got this intent of really connecting in with your heart and connecting in with your purpose and what's going on here. And that, I believe, is what actually creates, it's like before maybe it was a marketed vortex, but now it became an actual vortex because of people like you visiting these places and bringing your love and your intent and your meditation and all that to these places. So it's like, you know, the term that comes up to me is fake it till you make it. It's almost like these rocks were faking it till they made it. So you got the whole place is one big electromagnetic anomaly vortex. And, you know, there's all these stories about UFOs and secret black helicopters and weird anomalies at, you know, what's it called, Baldwin Ranch and all these places. And there's some really interesting things going on. But that's all over the place. It's not necessarily at a tourist location. And yet here we are, we're in a place now that these marketed places as, you know, these are the vortex locations now probably are a legitimate vortex location or an enhanced vortex location. Let's see what I also want to share about this. I think that's about it. I think that's all I got about this. So you're going to feel the vortex energy a little bit differently than other people. It's not going to be a crack in the earth. It's just going to be something that when you sit with yourself and do a little meditation, or even if you ride a bike in the vortex and then you stop and then you sit, you're going to get into that subtle energy. And it's not meant to be that it's a joyful energy. It's just meant to be more intense energy. So whatever you're, just like an ayahuasca experience, whatever you bring into the ceremony, you're going to enhance, you're going to intensify. So if you come here with a lot of fear and worry and anger, it's going to want to break that out and do something with it. So I always think about this energy is sort of a really benevolent energy that, like ayahuasca, is here to do its best to break through your barriers and intensify whatever is holding you back, and then so that you can be your authentic self. So enjoy that energy, enjoy Sedona, take care of it, love it. If you destroy it and if you trash it, that's going to be intensified in your life. So I just want to make a real plea to people visiting Sedona that what you bring into Sedona, you're going to intensify in your life. So bring respect and honoring and loving and compassion, and you'll intensify that in your life. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. I love you. Thank you. Bless you. See you next time.